Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. So Disney seems to be reinvesting a lot of energy into the prequels. Not only are we getting a new season of The Clone Wars, we're now also getting a Padme novel about her transition from Queen to Senator in the decade between episode 1 and 2, and another novel about Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi pre-Phantom Menace. Now this is really exciting because, as you guys know, I love Star Wars novels and comic books, and it's also really exciting because these two novels will be taking place in a period of time that is rarely covered even by Legends material. Anyway, on today's episode, we'll be going back to the prequel era again and looking at the new Clone Wars series. As we mentioned in one of our previous episodes, we see some familiar faces in the new Clone Wars series trailer. If you closely followed the Clone Wars Season 7, otherwise known as the Clone Wars Legacy, the cancelled season, you might remember a certain story arc known as the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch story arc was originally going to be 4 episodes long. It was already pretty far into development at the time it was cancelled. A basic story reel had been created already with voice acting and rudimentary animation. That's the footage you're seeing right now. The Bad Batch story arc most likely will be featured in the new Clone Wars season in one way or another. So that's what we're going to be talking about specifically today. So who are the Bad Batch? Well, officially they're known as the Experimental Clone Force 99. You guys remember that one clone called 99 as well? You see, 99 was a defective clone from the earlier seasons, or at least that's what the Heartless Fishheads on Kamino called them. He had a few genetic mutations which made him unable to serve in combat, but that never really limited him from fighting against the Separatists during their attack on Kamino. So Clone Force 99 was also made up of clones who had genetic mutations. But unlike 99, these mutations greatly enhanced their abilities in the field. The Bad Batch was also unique because their genetic mutations made them look completely different from the rest of the Fett clones.
These guys are clones? They don't look like clones to me. Genetic modifications. They're clones, but they don't all look alike. Obviously. Yeah, obviously.
Leading the group was a clone who I like to call the Rambo Clone. Although reportedly this character was inspired by Billy Soul from Predator. Anyway, Rambo Clone's real name, or at least what his clone brothers called him, was Hunter, and he had a rank of Clone Staff Sergeant. Hunter had a genetic mutation that enhanced his senses to a supernormal level. He had a terrific sense of smell, and he could also detect electromagnetic emissions on a planet-wide scale, making him an excellent navigator. His preferred weapon of choice was a vibroblade. But he also dual-wielded DC-17s for longer-range engagements. Then there was Crosshair. He was the marksman of the group. His genetic mutations made him an excellent sharpshooter. He was able to hit targets from 10 miles away, which is just unheard of. His helmet was specifically made with a semicircular cutout that adapted to his 7.73 Fire Punch Sniper Blaster Rifle. Crosshair had a pretty cold attitude. He wasn't very approachable, which I guess is stereotypical for a sniper for some reason.
If your plans are so good, why did Commander Cody have to call us in?
You can't talk to Captain Rex like that.
He kind of reminds me of Sev from Delta Squad, who was also kind of a dick. Crosshair was also pretty cynical and critical of any plans that his superiors made. He also didn't have much of a sense of humor and sometimes was at odds with his teammates. On top of that, Crosshair had this elitist attitude against regular clones.
What are you looking at?
We don't usually work with regs.
Regs?
He's talking about regular clones. I don't take it personal. He just means we don't always follow protocol.
Nonetheless, he was extremely efficient and deadly at his craft. Apparently, Crosshair is loosely based off of Clint Eastwood.
But Ian, this is a .44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off. You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Next up is the heavy weapon specialist, Wrecker. His genetic mutation gave him superhuman strength. He was also one of the biggest clones in the group. He was so strong that he was able to lift a downed LAAT off of Commander Cody. He would also occasionally pick up his squad members in the middle of a battle and use them as projectiles.
No, not again! Oh!
Unfortunately, his genetic mutations did not prevent him from having a severe fear of heights, or as he puts it, a fear of gravity.
Don't worry, Wrecker. I'll hold your hand.
In general, Wrecker was a great guy to have on your side, but terrible as an enemy. He was loud, full of life, and passionate about killing the enemy. He had a short fuse and was prone to explosive outbursts, which were very useful for taking down an enemy position. He liked to use an assortment of weapons ranging from a commando knife to a modified DC-17. He even had a Z6 rotary cannon and a rocket launcher. Wrecker always seemed to be at odds with Crosshair, and the two oftentimes had competitions to see who could kill more separatists during a battle.
Relax, Wrecker. You'll top him next time. No, he won't.
In his spare time, he seemed to enjoy lifting heavy things and thinking about blowing things up.
This is the happiest day of my life.
Rounding out the four-man squad was Tech. His genetic mutation made him brilliant. Tech was incredibly skilled in the sciences and technology. He was a capable engineer, hacker, and could even speak multiple languages. His mutation made him look younger and thinner than most clones. Tech wore a customized version of the clone Scout Trooper armor, which had a specialized visor goggle that had a computer display overlaid on them. Installed in his forearm was a very powerful computer terminal, which allowed him to perform numerous tasks from making trajectory calculations for artillery to translating alien script and language. It even served as a recorder and audio player. Tech was kind of a know-it-all. He was always eager to share all the information he knew, and he was always eager to learn about everything around him.
That's why all those Yavik males tried to eat us.
Technically they were trying to mate with us. And for your information, the stinger of a Yalbek queen is a delicacy on some planets.
He also really liked recording sounds and then sampling them. In another life, he probably would have made a good DJ. Tech preferred to dual-wield DC-17s when he wasn't hacking into computer terminals. He's also the pilot of Clone Force 99's attack shuttle. Besides having excellent combat abilities, what really made Clone Force 99 valuable to the GAR was their unpredictability. The regular clones, despite being organic, were still very predictable on the battlefield. Eventually, an algorithm was made that could predict clone trooper tactics. During the Battle of Naxos, the Separatists seems to have gotten their hands on that algorithm and were able to predict all the clones' movements and were defeating them on the battlefield everywhere. With the Republic on the verge of losing the planet, Bad Batch was called in by Commander Cody to help turn the tide. Despite being a bit rebellious and unpredictable, Bad Batch was extremely well organized and had an assortment of attack plans and formations they used on a regular basis. For instance, Plan 82 Chop Wave involved Wrecker running towards the enemy with a giant slab of blaster-proof material, while the rest of the squad ran along with him, using it as cover. Tech oftentimes used his superior engineering skills and would call out trajectories for grenades that Hunter would throw, which Crosshair would then shoot in midair so that they could detonate at the optimal height to take out as many droids as possible. They were definitely an unorthodox unit, but on the battlefield they were extremely well coordinated, even better than most clone units. But what really made the Bad Batch different from your average ARC Trooper or Clone Trooper unit was their aggressiveness and ability to conduct frontal assaults.
Everyone, find cover. We'll hold this position and let them come to us.
I don't think so, Captain. That's not our style. We prefer going to them.
Despite having issues sometimes with regular clone units, the Bad Batch oftentimes worked well with normal clones and sometimes even passed down some of their aggressiveness to normal units. And normal clones helped temper the Bad Batch's occasionally hot-headedness and tendency to get into more dangerous situations than necessary.
What are your orders? We pick them off from the tree line one by one?
Actually, I was thinking we'd take a page from your book. Rush them head on.
I like your style.
You might be thinking that Clone Force 99 sounds oddly similar to the Clone Commandos. Well, if you think that, you're actually not far off. Delta Force was canonized in the Clone Wars series, and Force 99 technically falls under the same classification as that commando unit. So in a way, Clone Force 99 is a canon continuation, at least in spirit, of the original Republic Commandos. Anyway, I'm really excited to see Force 99 in action alongside some ARC Troopers and regular Clone Troopers. I love the idea of clones with some attitude and character, whether that be choking their fellow clones or in the middle of a battle, or having a scantily clad Padme painted on their ship.
Yeah, she can negotiate with me anytime. Let's get aboard.
That is not staying there.
I see it as a welcome change to the GAR. After all, who doesn't like the idea of a bunch of lovable degenerates with giant guns?
Sorry. I just got excited.
I'm also looking forward to some good old-fashioned droid popping. Pure, simple action. Let me know what you guys think about Bad Batch, and do you think they're going to be included in the new Clone Wars series? Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button, and if you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.